coffee with the supervisor, although we don't have coffee here, you should point it out. However, I have 3 great guests with me today who represent an organization called Play It Forward. And it's a 501c3, not-for-profit, that deals with drug prevention, drug awareness, and also all other things drug-related, such as treatment, counseling, etc. So please introduce yourselves around the table.
My name is Allison Van Cott McEntee. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you.
And you're the director?
Yeah, I'm the founder and president.
Play It Forward Project.
And I am Kurt Hall, and I'm the vice president of the Play It Forward Project.
I'm Taylor Solomon, and I'm the secretary.
Great. So Play It Forward. It's a 501c3, not-for-profit. Tell us where you're based and what you do.
Well, we primarily run out of Stony Brook University. We have a live radio show that we have every other Friday at the university.
And that's on the university radio.
Yes.
What is that on the dial again?
WSB.FM or 90.1 FM or 107.3 FM.
Wow, all FMs.
All FMs.
Yes, people still listen to the radio.
Hey, I listen in the car. I listen when I'm shaving in the morning. And
there you go.
You try to keep up with things because radios can be very informative or entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, so you have a radio show. I know you do a podcast. Tell us a little bit about the podcast.
Well, we're evolving to a podcast, rather.
Okay.
We have a vision to create a mobile podcast that we want to create this awareness of drug education. Peer-to-peer is really what we're all about. We want to send a creative message to students in middle schools, elementary schools, high schools.
Yeah, don't get started. Don't start. Don't go down that road. Bad news.
Yeah.
Right. Because, you think it's a cool thing, you get into it, and unfortunately, some people get lost in it.
And
go ahead.
Unfortunately, right now, with the way the drug supply is, it's all tainted with fentanyl. The DEA has an initiative called onepillcankill. And unfortunately, you have these young kids who are perhaps experimenting for the first time, not knowing that the supply isn't what it used to be, 10, 20, 30 years ago, where you could just casually try something and, the risks were a little bit mitigated. Now you try something and unfortunately, we're having young kids, elementary school kids dropping dead.
It's terrible. And I'm told that a lot of the fentanyl that's in circulation in this country comes over the border with Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
It starts in China.
Right, starts in China, but it winds up coming over our border through Mexico,
mm-hmm.
among many other places and ports of entry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also told that they just interdicted a load of fentanyl, enough to kill everyone multiple times over in this country.
Yeah,
which tells you how deadly,
how
a small amount can be so deadly.
Yeah.
And yet, one of the things that concern me in this state is even a small amount of fentanyl, you can get out if you're arrested without bail. I find that cashless bail for something as serious as fentanyl is a real problem.
Yes.
Because I always feel that if you're breaking the law and you're doing something that's very dangerous, like the sale of fentanyl, that there should be consequences. And
you should be charged with murder.
Right. Well, I don't know murder, but certainly the sale and distribution should not be a cashless.
Right.
Even if it's a very small amount, because a small amount can kill.
So deadly. There's a visual that tells.
Yeah, so on a penny, you could, the president on the penny, his nose fits 2 milligrams of fentanyl, and just his little nose could kill somebody who's like opioid naive.
It's very serious.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very serious problem that we're seeing, and fentanyl is becoming a huge, huge issue that affects so many in this population because other drugs are laced with fentanyl.
Mm-hmm.
Even marijuana.
Yes, even marijuana, which now in this state, recreational marijuana is legal. I can understand medical marijuana. When they legalized marijuana, I had a lot of second thoughts about that. Some, and I don't know the studies because that isn't my field, but some have said that marijuana is like a gateway drug in the sense that if you do that and you get a little bit of a high out of that, you're going to say, well, what else could make me feel even better?
Right.
Yeah.
So speaking from my own experience, I'm in recovery. I went through Hope House Ministries in Port Jefferson, and
which is run by Father Frank.
Father Frank, yes.
Big shout out to Father Frank.
Yes, hello, Father Frank.
For the work he does. He is a saint trying to help homeless, trying to help people afflicted with drug usage. He works amongst populations that need help.
Yes. And I went through the program. I was a heroin addict, but it all started with marijuana. And I look back now, and I say that if I hadn't tried that, I don't know if I would have tried everything else.
Right.
I think I probably would have eventually, but I definitely think that opened the door for me to experiment with other stuff. Easy start, yeah.
Which makes me concerned about the new laws in our state, but they are what they are. Let's talk about the positive side, all the things that you guys do to help people who may fall into the web of addiction. And it is a web that you fall into when you really need help out. And that's why people like Father Frank, Dr. Jeffrey Reynolds, Steve Chaseman, all those people and a whole host of a lot of organizations are working, but it's like pushing against the tide.
Yeah.
Oh, it really is.
And all those people you just named, we've actually had as guests on our show.
Right.
Along with a bunch of others. Frank Tarantino from the special agent in charge of the New York DEA.
Right.
Carol Trottier. Advocate extraordinaire.
Right.
Shout out to Carol.
Okay.
But she actually has a question for you.
Okay.
That she asked me, is Narcan in any of the Brookhaven
Yes.
Okay.
We have Narcan, and I was back in the legislature before I was a supervisor, and I voted to put Narcan in all of our police vehicles.
Great.
In Suffolk County.
That's awesome.
And I believe all police, because Suffolk County Police doesn't cover the whole county.
Right.
The 5 eastern towns have their own police department, and there's 9 villages, 4 on the west end and 5 on the east end that have their own police. But I believe all police departments now are equipped with Narcan.
I know the Suffolk County police officers that we've spoken with are
Right.
equipped with it.
Yeah,
we have 2 coming on the show tomorrow.
Right. And a lot of that has to do with John Kennedy when he was a legislator. He's now our county comptroller, because I worked with him on this and he was a leader on this. It's very important
It is.
that police officers have that, because it's an ability to save a life.
Yes. One thing that we're very passionate about is trying to eradicate the stigma attached, even to Narcan. I feel that if Narcan was next to every AED or every defibrillator, I think the general public will automatically look at it as the health problem it actually is. Wow, this is next to a defibrillator. I mean, it's actually innocuous to anyone else, even a child. It's harmless, but it can save your life.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, a large segment of our population has experimented with drugs.
Yeah.
And some of them have become addicted. And it's a health crisis.
It is.
It's a disease and a health crisis that you've got to deal with. And Narcan gives us an opportunity to save lives that normally would be lost. But we also have to look at more treatment centers. We don't have enough treatment centers. And it's a shame. I look at something like a Seafield in West Hampton.
Yes.
They are doing a very good job. And there's a number of good treatment centers throughout the island. But I'm sure they're oversubscribed because there just aren't enough beds for people.
Well, there aren't enough beds. And then also you have insurance who isn't giving people enough time, and they're kicking people out after 7 days, 5 days. They go right back out again. And now your tolerance is lowered, and you're more susceptible to an overdose.
We've got to deal with that.
Yeah.
Because the one thing a good society does, and I'm sure our legislators and our governor in the state want New York State to be a good society, is to help people be all they can be. And if someone's addicted, they're not thinking clearly, they can't maintain their jobs, they're not doing whatever they're supposed to do. You need 30 days in a facility where you don't it's not a outpatient, it's inpatient, so that you can get the counseling, the treatment, and you get cut off from any of the sources that might prevent you from recovering fully. And you have 30 days in a closed facility, and that may not be enough for everyone, but it's a
not,
start.
It's
sadly.
actually 30 days.
Right.
Talk about Hope House.
Yeah, I
right?
mean, well, you're familiar with Hope
Yes,
House.
I am.
It is 18 to 24 months.
Right.
And now, while everybody can do a 30-day program and they can come out the other side, we've seen over the years, and myself just experiencing it personally, that 30 days you go in there, you come right back out, and you're back with the same set of problems that you have and the same lifestyle that you have. You know, we need to have longer than 30 days. We need to have aftercare for these people. We need to help them get better jobs and go back to school and all those things. And I think that we, and this is a nationwide problem, falls short of that.
I could not agree with you more, because you don't want non-productive members of society that to feed their drug habit, which is expensive,
Right.
they look to criminal activity.
Of course.
And that's one of the major drivers of crime in this state is people who have become addicted. And for whatever reason, some people have the wherewithal, but most of people don't have the wherewithal to support a drug habit and then have to turn to crime to do so.
One thing that's very important to us is prevention.
Right.
And so we feel, like Kurt was saying with his 11-year-old son, he came on the show and a light bulb went off in all of us, because he was so articulate and spoke but he has a little kid's voice, and
Right.
it was so amazing and empowering to see him.
And also really sad to hear
Right.
an 11-year-old saying, "Dad, you need to tell people. You need to come into schools. You need to tell kids about this." You know,
Are you
you're-
doing outreach to schools?
Well, that is part of our vision. We want to have a mobile podcast. We strongly believe in peer-to-peer advocacy. I've been a piano teacher, a private piano teacher for over 40 years, and worked one-on-one with many different ages of children. And one thing I've learned is that when you put kids, when you empower them and you put them in charge of something greater than themselves, it makes them want to be better. They want to pass this on to their peers. We feel it's more important to have that than somebody in a 3-piece suit coming in lecturing to the kids about
don't do drugs. Don't do drugs.
You know, remember DARE?
I remember the DARE program. The county had it for many years, and then they decided to cut back on it. So you don't see as active of a DARE program. DARE program being a program where police officers went into the schools, established relationships with the kids, but spoke primarily against drug use and certainly criminal behavior, and tried to create a positive role model for the kids with the cops. But that was a program, for whatever reason, was cut back, but it was reduced significantly from where it was years ago.
So we feel that, you know, going into these schools, perhaps bringing guys that are in recovery, you know, trying to get a close age proximity to the students that we're speaking with. You know, I bring guys to different programs and stuff, and we try to match them with the same age. And the way that they connect, you really tell that it's much more impactful for them.
Absolutely.
You know, and so we are in the early grassroots phases of our project.
Of outreach to public schools.
Yeah, preventing it, giving them coping skills. Mental health is a huge driver of why people go to use drugs. And
of course, the pandemic did not help.
No.
Correct. That created a lot of mental health issues, depression, isolation. And people, when they're depressed, when they're isolated, you know, can turn to drugs.
Well, and with the healthy coping skills, you know, we tell kids not to do drugs, but what do we tell them to do instead? You know, and those are some of the things that we need to try to implement. Or, okay, hey, don't do drugs, but, you know, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? And offer other solutions, other healthy solutions.
If a school district wanted to reach out to you to ask you to come in and to host a program for some of their students, who would they call and what number would they call?
So they would reach us online.
Online?
On our, we
Okay.
reach us through the
I know our Instagram, sbu.playitforward.
Okay, SBU
Dot.
play it forward.
All one
Yes.
word.
All one word with the dot in between.
Yes.
We have
Right.
a YouTube channel, which all our previous shows are online, where you
Okay.
can listen and view. We eventually will be a podcast,
Okay.
and a mobile one, rather,
Mhm.
because we want to be able to get the students involved with
Right.
the work that we do. We want to have youth ambassadors, if you will, to
Further carry the message.
yeah.
Absolutely.
But they can also reach us at sbu.tpifp@gmail.com.
Okay. And I want to thank you for being on. This goes very quickly,
Yes.
but you bring a very important message. And I want to thank you because you're in the fight to save lives
Yeah.
and to repurpose lives so that people can live better than they're living if they're facing issues of addiction.
hmm
So thank you for what you
Thank
do.
you.
Thank you for your time
Because-
and this
Thank you for
opportunity.
having us.
You're saving lives and it's important. And we're going to make sure all your contact information is
Thank
up
you.
on the screen.
Thank you
Great.
very much.
Thanks again.
Thank you,
Thank you so much.
Supervisor.
Thank you.
Thank you. And obviously you had the Instagram thing, so thank you.